competence is everything. It gives us the motivation to move on, to go, to do, to achieve, to do something. And the important thing to realize from that competence idea is how do you develop that?
Yeah.
How do you get that competence? Hey, it's Harry
And Carson.
with the Pillars Podcast.
Real talk for real growth.
Let's dive in. So we're back, Carson, talking again about the things that are essential for young men as they grow to be young men. And we've talked about a lot of great things as far as how young men can thrive in life. And today we want to kind of go into the belonging and competence about the things that young men need in order to thrive in their life.
When you talk about competence, just because I just had learned the true definition of that a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
If you could just give more light to what that means.
Competence in life is that, I like the way that you described it. After I described it, you said just, I got this.
Yeah.
It's knowing that I got that. I can do that. And it goes from many different levels, from the level of a young boy learning to walk, a little kid learning to walk. He's confident enough now he'll get up and he'll walk. It may, even before that, he's just crawling. And he's competent to crawling through the kitchen to get where he wants, and then moving to walking, and he's competent enough to stand, and then moving to running, and he's competent enough to run, and then to stop and make a turn. It's just, I could do that.
Yeah. To one day talking to a girl.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I have a great, when I took the young men to Jamaica.
Yeah.
We were at one of the beaches, and there are all these guys hanging out together, and these cute girls come by, and these guys were so afraid that the girls come by, and all of a sudden their heads go down like this.
The guys.
and I'm teasing them. I'm saying, why don't you just, we're here in Jamaica, meet people. Go talk to them. Oh, no, I don't. Well, I'm not going to talk to them because, if I were in California, I would do it.
Oh, yeah. The typical excuse.
Yeah. So competence at that level too is just when you feel good about it, I can do this, and it happens. And that's what we're wanting to focus on a lot about that.
Yeah. So how does that develop? Like, what's some of that? You said like some of the first things is like, you learn how to walk, and then you learn how to run.
Yeah.
How does developing that kind of competence affect you later in your life?
Well, generally, the competence is everything. It gives us the motivation to move on, to go, to do, to achieve, to do something. And the important thing to realize from that competence idea is how do you develop that?
Yeah.
How do you get that competence? And competence probably is not, I don't know if anybody has developed competence on their own, isolated from people. The more you have a community, the more you have a group of people who affirm for you what you do, and even challenge you in what you're doing to become better. That level of confidence makes every bit of the ability to grow that level of confidence is everything.
So it really matters who is in your circle.
Absolutely. Right. Matters who you're. My daughter, she's a track athlete.
Yeah.
And, we're thinking, okay, she's in college and she has coaches, and even making decisions to where she would go to school and who she would run under or compete under as far as the coach. It matters that coach, what that coach can do. And if he's able to push her enough or train her in a way that is going to get the best out of her.
Develop more competence.
To develop more competence. And you can't just have somebody who's just going to say, do this, you have to do this, you want to make sure that they get you. They understand you.
Yeah.
That's that other part of it where you have this sense of belonging, a place where you feel like I belong. They know you, you know them. They're a comfort to you and secure place for you, so that when they push you to a level that's beyond your comfort zone, to develop those competencies,
Yeah.
they're going to achieve something because you're safe and comfortable.
It's a little bit similar to what we were talking about last episode with just with the cultivating aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Is like that is what the group or the coach in your daughter's case, he's cultivating the competence in her, the belonging.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yes.
And what's the difference between, because competence and confidence, they sound so similar, and they also sound a little bit similar too.
It's a good question.
I don't know the difference. What's the difference?
You could feel confident about doing something and completely fail. Right?
Right.
I'm confident I can take this wave. I can do this flip. Okay, we build up the confidence. Okay, I'm confident. You're maybe confident enough to try.
Yeah.
But you might not be competent to actually accomplish it yet. The competence
meaning
is I can do this.
I can do it.
Confidence is I can try. I'm sure enough that I can try to do it.
Yeah.
That doesn't secure the fact that you're going to do it. When you're competent, you're going to do it. It's like if American Idol, there's a lot of confident people who are going to go out there and to sing, right?
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of competent people who go out there. Not everybody is competent.
So it's better to have the sense of developed competence rather than confidence.
Yeah, because confidence can be faulty.
Mm-hmm.
Competence is a sure thing. It's a sure thing. It's you can do that.
So can you give me like a scenario, like for people my age, what's a scenario where you can cultivate and help someone feel like they belong and developing their sense of competence?
Well, like that's where I would encourage young men to be discerning of their surrounding their group of people, their primary posse. You have to have the right people in your circle, and having the right people in your circle may require you to actually first define what who those right people would be. Is the right people going to be the people who are negative or who are critical?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be the people who aren't diligent at doing life well? And are you going to put those people within your circle? Because if you put those people within your circle, there are probably a lot of areas of life you're not going to grow in competence that really matter as it relates to your identity and your abilities.
That will negatively impact or stunt growth.
Exactly.
In that area.
So I would encourage young men to, first understand that here are the people who I need in my circle or want in my circle. And then be diligent enough to go and find those people, that group of people, for that very purpose. I want to be who I can be. I want to be the best person, man that I can be. And if I'm aware of that, I'm going to develop some communities of people that are to my benefit rather than to my dismay, to my destruction.
Hey, we're glad you joined us today.
If you're resonating with the conversation, hit subscribe and stay in the loop.
Got a question or a topic you'd like us to explore? Drop it in the comments. We're listening.
And remember, the Pillars podcast is not just about talking. It's about taking action.
Check the link for more. And through learning that skill of competence throughout your life, why is that even necessary? Why do you need that?
That competence?
Yeah.
What would we do otherwise? We would sit. I think when I think of a guy who doesn't have competence at all in something, he still has a desire to want to be valued, recognized, to be belonging, to belong somewhere.
100%.
And likely what that will produce with the lack of competence is someone who is very much a perpetrator, who pretends to something.
I was thinking the legal term.
What is that?
I don't know what the legal term is, but you hear it in movies and stuff all the time. The perpetrator.
The perpetrator. He's pretending.
Yeah.
This is the role that he's playing. And you get a lot of people who play a role, put on a mask
Mhm.
and pretend to be somebody, but under the mask is really nothing.
Yeah.
It's like a guy who will show up for a job interview. Oh yeah, I could do this and I could do this, and because he wants a job, so he's gonna fluff up his resume and he's gonna
Yeah.
fluff up who he is and everything, and then he gets hired, and they find out,
This guy's a bag of rocks.
yeah, he can't do anything
Yeah.
of this. He sure put on a good game. That's why competence, and when you have true competence,
That's like
you
putting
feel
into
good.
action.
Yeah. Put it in and you can execute this,
Yeah.
and you feel so much better about yourself.
Mm.
When you're a young man or a man or anybody in life who is going around always pretending, you're not going to be the best person. You're not going to feel the most secure.
Wow.
Yeah, it's hard. I wouldn't want to do that.
It's an interesting point that you bring up perpetrator because you're pretending,
Yeah.
and it's like you're not, like you said, you're not confident, or you're not competent in who you are
Yeah.
and capable of like what you can do. You don't even know.
Yeah. So I remember you telling me you're teaching somebody to surf. If you didn't know how to surf,
Yeah.
what would it be like for you to go teach somebody to surf?
Oh, it would be like embarrassing. I would be like making things up, and clearly I would look like a fool.
That's exactly the case. You look like a fool. And many people would probably be able to detect that.
Yes.
And how they would respond to you. You would pick up that, hey, people don't really embrace me really well.
Mhm.
And you would know that. And you wouldn't try to figure that out and try to enhance it, because I know why they're probably not, because I'm putting on this fake thing. But
Yeah.
even that, I have to pretend even harder to go, no, I'm just going to do. Well, come and surf with us. Well, I would, but I have to go do something.
I gotta shave the dishes.
No, so it doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah.
We want to develop that, and it's incumbent upon us to put us in environments that would help us. And like we were saying before, if we're people of integrity, we're going to show up as we are.
Yeah.
And we're going to say, hey, I don't really know that. And guess what you're going to get? Probably somebody's going to say, here, then let me help you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you. And you're going to get much better. You're going to have much more competence and you will have real confidence to be able to do it.
And it's just dawning on me right now is, if you're not competent and you're pretending you're being a fool,
Yeah.
that's like the same thing as passivity almost.
Mm-hmm.
Or they kind of run the same track.
It's the avoidance of doing what you need to.
Yes.
And as you get older and older, you're stuck in that out of fear of being found out.
Mm.
So you're like, oh no, I'm not going to do that. And then you recede instead of moving forward.
So how would you encourage somebody who doesn't have that kind of competence at home or in their circle, like somebody who's listening? How would you encourage somebody that's my age about that? And what areas are they good at things, and how can they involve themselves in situations to where people will recognize that and they can be lifted up?
Yeah.
And develop more.
Well, it goes back to the desire to be a real man.
Yeah.
If you really desire to be a real man, it's again that vision where you're casting the vision for them. This is who I want to be. This is where I want to be. Then you can appeal to that. It's just like if young boys understand the definition of what a real man, like we talked about, he takes responsibility, he rejects passivity, he leads courageously, he accepts the greater reward, and he has a king to serve. If he embraces that reality or that definition of a man, and he wants to be a man, there's going to be that little trigger for him that's going to say, yeah, I can't do that. That's not what a man does. And I want to be there. So he has to have a little bit of that. I desire that. And my hope is that even if that little desire is there and you engage with people who say they want to embrace that, then you're on your way.
Mm-hmm.
You're moving in the direction of you're going to get something. If a young man comes to me and he tells me that's what he wants, I'm committed to being there and helping him to get there, and we'll walk there together.
Yeah.
And like we always say, of course, you're not going to be perfect. You're going to fail. You're going to shrink back. But now that we know the definition, and now you have the desire, and you have the right people around you, we're going to eventually get there.
Mm-hmm. And the failure part of it is like just as important as succeeding in it. You know,
it is inevitable. We don't want people to be deceived in thinking you're not going to fail, because if that's the mentality that you will be miserable, frustrated.
It's more about the response to the failure.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. I don't know anybody who has not succeeded. You don't know anybody. We don't know anybody who has not succeeded and who has also had series of failures.
Yeah,
it can't happen. And the thing that a mentor does to a young man is he makes him feel okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. Don't worry about it. And the thing that even as I'm growing into being a man always, and being responsible, and then doing all the things that a real man does, even as I'm doing that, I have to learn to be more patient with myself. And that's a key thing, to be more patient with ourselves, to embrace the fact that we have failed, we will fail, but we're on the pathway of getting better. So that's where we are.
Yeah, well, a lot of wisdom.
My hope is that they take away the idea that to get into a community with the right people, to pursue the areas of doing what is necessary to gain the competence that would allow them to truly be that man who is able to do this and say, I know I got this.
Yeah, to become a pillar.
Yeah. Well, hey, this is a great conversation.
With you. Thank you for having me.
We want young men to become men, and that's what we're standing on.
We sure do.
Right. So next time, see you next time as we talk about real manhood.